And now, The Money Show
with Stephen Grootes on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
The Money Show with Stephen Grootes is brought to you by ABSA Corporate and Investment Banking. ABSA is a proud lead sponsor of B20 South Africa 2025. Good evening. Welcome to the program. I'm Stephen Grootes. 8 minutes after 6 the time. We'll speak to Carol Paton in a moment about the Public Investment Corporation. I keep making the point about a lack of transparency there, and this is the problem. You know, in a way, I hate to be so blunt, but it kind of proves the point. If you do not tell us what's happening at something that is that important and so kind of in a way financial and political all at the same time, you must expect people to go and find out for themselves, and then you lose control of the story. Well, Carol Paton, you know the high regard in which I hold her. She'll tell you what she thinks is going on there, and we do take her very, very seriously. Process talking today about AI, how it's helping them in their business. It seems to all be about search, and you know this gets to the heart of the AI question. Supposedly, the companies that use it the best are the ones that are going to succeed. That's the whole point. And in a way, it really does get to the heart of that story. The rand dropping a little bit, and of course there have been quite dramatic developments in the last hour or so. The US President Donald Trump warning again of very stiff tariffs against China, sort of upping the ante there. Likes to kind of have it on all fronts, does Donald Trump, if you consider the Middle East, the US shutdown of their federal government, and then of course now taking this war to China as well, the trade war I mean. So that it has been weakening the rand a little bit, but has strengthened gold, which went past $4,000 again. We'll speak to Treasury One, their currency risk strategist, André Cellier, in a few moments. A Friday file tonight, Naledi Dlamini, someone who's really sort of redefining luxury design using denim to do it. And don't forget the Friday Biz Blitz as well. A lot to talk about tonight. I think the main story probably going through the next little while is going to be what happens with Trump's new threat of tariffs against China and why he's decided to pick this moment to do it. There does seem to be some kind of timetable in the US around all of this, but certainly very interesting. And I suspect might well set the sort of scene for what's going to happen in markets next week. Good to hear from you as always on 011 883 0702 021 446 0567, and I know you'll have a view on 072 702 1702. Good evening. It's 11 minutes after 6.
The Money Show
With Stephen Grootes, live on 92.7 and 106 FM. Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
and DSTV channel 856.
One of those short emails coming through from SARS that can mean so much. All it is, it just says press conference 12 o'clock tomorrow. The subject is Lucky Montana. We know, of course, Lucky Montana is the former CEO at PRASA. He's currently a member of parliament for Mkhonto weSizwe. And SARS issuing a statement this week saying that if he did not retract his claims, what they say are lies against SARS, they will reveal what for the moment is still his confidential tax information. You may remember a conversation we had with, I think it was Charles DeVette, about that, the tax expert. It does seem now that SARS, if you consider the timing of this, a weekend press conference from a tax authority about one particular individual, I understand the amount to be in the region of 55 million rand. Well, we are in the realms of seeing things we have not seen very many times before. But it does seem to me, from what I can see at this point, that SARS is gearing up to do something they have not done many times. And I suspect we might find out a bit more about Lucky Montana and his finances than we knew before. That press conference, 12 o'clock tomorrow, timed, I say cynically, for the Sunday press, ? 12 after.
702. Stephen is on X.
At Stephen Grootes.
Well, this time the last week, the Public Investment Corporation was about to announce that it decided to suspend its chief investment officer, Kabelo Rakotso. It's given very few details on why it's taken this decision. Some details now beginning to emerge. Carol Paton, the editor-at-large at Fin24, publishing an important story detailing what seems to be happening at the PIC. Carol, good evening. I do appreciate the time. The PIC is the continent's biggest investment fund. From what you know at this point, why has it decided to suspend its chief investment officer? It seems to be connected to AO Technologies.
Yes, well, good evening. It's Stephen. It is connected to IO Technologies. So two things happened at once. whistleblower report landed on the desk of the chairperson of the PIC, that's Deputy Minister of Finance David Masondo, and a vote took place on the delisting of AO, in which the PIC was a big shareholder. And at that vote, there was a unanimous vote to accept a buyout offer, a final buyout offer, with the delisting of AO, and it was 52 cents a share or something. But I think about 99% less than they listed for. And the whistleblower report also contained details about this AO transaction and the delisting. So this was kind of alarming. The new board had only been sort of in office for a week, and they sat immediately and decided to suspend Grootes, which was surprising because if anything, it was a governance breach, it seems, that he didn't tell them that this final settlement buyout offer was going ahead and that the PIC was going to accept it. I don't know what choice there would have been. Actually, from what I can see, there wouldn't have been another choice other than to accept. It would have, the next best option was really a bad one. So that's what happened. And I think for me, the bigger picture is just that, the PIC is such a politicized environment, and it's very difficult to operate in there without either getting caught in the politics or getting caught in the crossfire.
Is there any indication that Kabelo Grootes was trying to do something that would benefit himself or any other political actor or anyone who's politically connected? As you say, it was really the best offer. I mean, I think they listed at 43 Rand. This was 52 cents a share. So it's a massive loss, but there's no better option.
No, there isn't a better option, because to stay in meant that you could stay in and hope that, AO delists and then it becomes a private company and suddenly its fortunes really improve and you make much more money. But given the fact that, AO itself seemed to be based on such a over-exaggeration of the value initially, that seems a bit unlikely. So it's not clear whether Grootes was going to benefit at all from this. I don't know. The whistleblower report might claim that. I haven't seen the whistleblower report. It might claim that. I don't really see. For me, that's not the big issue. For me, the bigger issue is that, they had tried to suspend Grootes before. There had been issues before over governance breaches where they said he didn't tell them, various things that he had been doing. And his argument in response was that, well, it's within my delegated authority to do those things. So there was a difference of opinion over, what governance should have been followed. So for me, the big issues were, look, they were looking for a way of perhaps, disciplining him, and this was the opportunity.
I mean, it gets to, as you say, the nature of the PIC, and they've been quite careful, haven't told us very much about what's happening here at all. And when that happens, people like you go and do the work that you do, but people also think the worst. I mean, it is such a big fund. I would think, and this might just be me, they have a duty to tell us a lot more than they have.
Well, they do, especially since it is, it's mostly the government employees pension fund money, which is a defined benefit fund. Which, if that fund falls short, then the taxpayer has to chip in. So yes, we are entitled to more of an explanation. That's for sure. We hope that we'll get a proper one once they do their investigation. But the finance minister announced an investigation into the unlisted investments of the PIC. When was it? I think it was several months ago. And then I asked them, could we at least see the terms of reference of this investigation? And the answer came back from Treasury: no, you can't. And we haven't heard a thing. Has anyone been appointed to do this? Has anything, what are they looking for? We do know that the head of the unlisted investments or he was the acting head or the head, I'm not sure, has been suspended. So there are things going on there that clearly are not on the level.
Carol Paton, thank you so much. Editor-at-large at Fin24. Very important story, 18 after 6.
7:02.
7:02.
Stephen is on the Money Show.
6 to 8 p.m.
Well, you know, of course, that if you take out your phone and start to do some online shopping or start to look for anything, there's search engines that will direct you to what you want or what you thought you wanted. Now, Prosus says the use of AI and the launch of what they call large commerce models will improve this process. Euro Baynat is the global head of artificial intelligence at Prosus. Euro, good evening. I really do appreciate the time. Thank you. We know how current search systems work. What's different about this new system? If I wanted a hamburger and I searched for that, how would it sort of change that experience?
And good evening, and thanks for having me. Well, it changes in many ways. So if we look at e-commerce, in fact, the platforms that we use now, they have been around and more or less designed and invented in the last 10, 15 years. And we already use a lot of machine learning to recommend products, to make sure that the experience is, let's say, seamless and so on. But we've already been limited to what we can do with technology. So what happened in the last few years, in particular last 2-3 years, large language models have become useful. We use them in ChatGPT. And what we are doing, we are training large language models to understand not only language or, everything on the internet, but to understand commerce. And we've been working on this for a year and a half, and we have, let's say, tried rolling out. And these systems are designed to understand the users much better, to understand the intent, and therefore they lead to something, some suggested recommendations are far more personal, much more relevant. They improve, in general, the e-commerce experience.
So is it just a sort of better search hit, or does it actually do a lot of other things in the back end that makes me more likely to buy your product?
Well, it obviously it improves search, that's clear, but it improves also customer support in the sense that already knowing all the reasons why you have done what you've done and the reasons why you're displeased or unhappy about the purchase, let's say that the experience of the customer support can be better. There's an entire way of looking at, let's say, having a model that looks at the past transactions, understands everything that the user does on the platforms, reasons about that, and creates some sort of reasons why that happened and the outcome. So the models understand this relationship between what you do and the outcome you want. And because of that, first of all, what you see on the platform is different, is much more personal. It changes during the day because during the day you might need different things. It changes depending who you are. It might help you understand exactly what the needs you have. You might want a pair of shoes because you want to go running or because you just had an incident and you need to change them. It's different. So it really takes your experience to what the reason why you go there on the websites in the first place. And yes, of course, that has also a better outcome in terms of businesses.
We know AI is becoming more and more important. Your competitors are using it as well. How important is it to Prosus to use AI as effectively as possible to get ahead of your competitors? What I'm really asking, I suppose, is how important a competitive advantage is AI for you at this moment?
We think we already have a competitive advantage. We started investing significantly in artificial intelligence back in 2018, more or less when I joined the group. And we invest already something like 100 million per year across the group in artificial intelligence. And we're really good at that. We have, something like 800, 900 AI models that work in all the companies across the group. So we're really good at this. I think the next phase of this, it is making it a lot better. We are convinced, we already know that this is a competitive differentiation. We've seen the numbers, we see in the places where we compete. Now we think that these large commerce models will give us an extra edge. And in fact, they are going to take us to the next generation of e-commerce, which is going to be based on models that reason and agents that do things for you. So you not only go to a website and find what you want, there are going to be agents that you control and they scan for you all the time for the best deals. So things like that, which are impossible now, will become the regular experience not too far from now.
So in other words, fairly soon on a Friday night, I could get home after listening to the Money Show and say aloud, I want a hamburger. And the hamburger that I'm actually thinking about, which will have cheese, bacon and mushroom, will suddenly arrive because the machine knows what I wanted, even though I didn't say cheese, bacon and mushroom.
That's possible. Whether this is going to be something you really, want is the experience that you like, to be seen. But yes, we will know much more about, let's say, the reason why you want it. Is it because of an event? Is it because, let's say, it has been a long day or things like this? And therefore, we'll be able to suggest to you the things that, are probably better for your experience at that moment. It can also be automated. It can also be, let's say, for instance, in grocery, we know more or less the buying pattern, so we can suggest on Friday, this is probably your shopping list. Do you want me to take care of that and deliver it at some point? So you can think of these agents taking care of a lot of the chores and making all your experience a lot easier and even more pleasant, of course.
Euro Baynat, thanks very much indeed. Global Head of AI at Process, 24 after 6.
The Money Show Explainer.
Well, you may remember at the start of the year, the rand was well over the 18 rand mark to the dollar. In fact, seemed to be heading towards 19 rand now. Earlier today and earlier this week, it was around 17.15, 17.10 at one point. In the last hour and a half since the US President Donald Trump announced he wants stiffer tariffs against China, the rand has fallen back a bit, but still much stronger in the last few months. André Cellier is Director and Currency Risk Strategist at Treasury One. André, good evening. 9 months is a long time on international markets. What have been the main drivers of the sort of rand strength we've seen?
Main drivers of this rand, and I've just done a presentation for people today, is when you put up a slide on a presentation, you immediately put up Mr. Trump's face. Because he's one of the key drivers. But everything that he does revolves around increasing income for the United States of America, but that sometimes starts trade wars, and that's on his tariff side. Furthermore, that impacts on interest rates and monetary policy by the Federal Reserve. And that's got to do with interest rates either going up or going down because of inflation and because of unemployment figures in the US. So very much those two drivers out of the US, but the impact of that impacting throughout the old economy and have an impact on world economies. Then comes geopolitical situations. And then one refers to wars, Israel, Gaza, Ukraine, Russia, and so forth. And the tensions globally is just on the increase. They're speaking of, ceasefires and so forth, but it doesn't come to conclusion. And one of the biggest problems is that all these tariffs and everything that is being announced by Mr. Trump continuously and threatened by him creates great uncertainty. And the uncertainty leads to an increase in gold, for instance, and we've seen tremendous increases in gold, but we've also seen increases in other commodities. So that becomes an uncertain thing, but at least the rand benefited from that. But we can see right this afternoon how sensitive the rand is to its changes that quickly gets announced. Like this morning, we were well below the 1720s. And this week, we had gone as low as 1706. But we're back up at the 1743 levels. And depending on how this new suspected trade war between America and China turns out, we could go a little bit higher, or we could be back around the 1720 very soon.
How important, is the gold price a big factor at all? If it slips, does it have an impact on the rand? Obviously, as you say, the Trump administration is the main driver of all of this. But whatever the Trump administration seems to do, it pushes up gold, and it seems to lead to a weaker dollar.
It leads to a weaker dollar, but the uncertainty in terms of geopolitical situations once again underscores the strength of the dollar. So that becomes a bit of a seesaw. It's almost as if the euro and the pound and so forth become more volatile than other currencies in the world because of this. But the gold, if you look at gold and you look at the big buyers of gold, then you look at central banks. If you then go there and try and uncipher this, why is the central banks buying all this gold, then I always want to say it's a step away from just buying U.S. treasuries, diversifying their holdings of their reserves into other instruments as well. And that tells me a little bit that there's a bit of a mistrust in what comes out of America and what comes out of the erratic decisions from Mr. Trump. So it's a bit of a mistrust, and that is what's driving a gold price to higher levels.
André Cellier, thanks very much indeed. Director, Currency Risk Strategist at Treasury One.
The Money Show.
The markets.
Grant Nader is Portfolio Manager, Benguela Global Fund Managers. Grant, good evening. I mean, gold slipping below $4,000 an ounce. Trump opens his social media network, and suddenly it's back across 4,000 again.
Yeah, indeed. Look, gold has been on an incredible run, but it looked like it was about to take a much needed breather and have a decent pullback, which is part of the journey in climbing higher. But yeah, Trump opens and announced the potential for massive tariffs against China in retaliation around those key metals, precious metals, rare earths, apologies. And so yes, it's one. I mean, the key driver for gold is the geopolitical risk, the global uncertainty, the diversification, the global central bank buying. Those are all still in play. It's really about at what price do you buy gold. So I think gold's pullback is limited by these factors that are very much still on the table. PGMs, which are also suffering a bit of a pullback, I think are less geopolitically sensitive, less hedges than gold is. And so those, I think, are operating in a different dynamic.
Pick and Pay up nearly 9% at the close today. A very strong update from them.
And a really good update, a surprisingly good update. I was quite pleased to see that. So turnover up, 4.9%. But what stood out for me was their corporate stores. So the stores they own saw like-for-like sales growth of 4.8%. And the inflation's very low. So within that, they're actually getting volume growth. So that's really a good testament. They're doing something right, and that's a step in the right direction. Yes, it's still loss-making, but there's a massive reduction in those losses. We haven't got insight into the cash flow yet, so that's still coming. But they're doing a job of they're cutting the worst-performing stores. They're refocusing the business. They're sort of stabilizing the balance sheet. They're doing all the right things. And then you add to it the clothing business, which has really been it's been a fantastic business, and it remains so. Growing 12%, like-for-like sales 7.5%. And then, of course, they still own the majority of Boxer. So it's an improving story. There's no question about it. And most of the money is made by those who take a chance at this stage of the game where you see this kind of potential for a turnaround. I think there's still a bit of story to be told here. I don't think it's a done deal that they turn the business around, but this is a good step in the right direction.
Grant Nader, thanks very much indeed. Really appreciate it. Portfolio Manager at Benguela Global Fund Managers.
702 with Stephen Grootes.
Email him on stephen@702.co.za.
Don't forget, of course, the Friday Biz Blitz coming your way in just a few moments. You might want to sort of get ahead of the queue. 011 883 0702 021 446 0567. Questions coming about some of the corporate news that we've seen today. Metal, which has hit very high prices. Things like largest asset manager in Africa, pharmaceutical firm. Questions like that are what you can look forward to on the Friday Biz Blitz in just a couple of minutes.
The Money Show.
The Friday File.
The Friday File.
Well, I don't know if you've ever sat down and looked at how much and the influence that fashion and design actually has on your life. It's not something I spend nearly enough time thinking about, but the fashion industry is a very, very interesting one. Sometimes quite a difficult one to make your mark. And in someone who started to make a mark at quite a young age is Naledi Dlamini, a fashion designer from Tsepo Jeans, and been working on a big project at the luxurious Marble Circus. Naledi, good evening, and thanks for agreeing to speak to us on The Money Show tonight.
Hi, Stephen. How are you?
I'm well, thanks. Thanks so much for talking to us. What is it about fashion that drew you to it? I mean, are you one of those people who kind of knew at 4 years old that's what you wanted to do? So many people in the fashion industry kind of are those people.
Yes. First of all, thank you for having me. I was always that little girl that sort of just loved fashion, and my mother was one of my big inspirations. But I just remember the comical aspect of it is I used to come back, and in my holidays I'd cut up my school socks for my Barbies. So I kind of, always knew at a young age.
Do you know what it is about it? I mean, we don't always know why we like something. We just like it. But is there something in particular you think that's drawn you to it? I mean, it is a way of expressing yourself, which makes it very powerful.
I think for me, the most exciting thing is sort of like how fashion communicates in its own ways. You can play with structure and silhouette with the types of fabrics you use. Kind of just the way it speaks to someone and the way it makes someone feel, how the garment feels on them and the emotion that it evokes in that person.
You've been working, as I understand it, primarily in denim. Why denim? I mean, is there something that's drawn you to it? Is it just happenstance where you ended up?
Denim, I've always thought denim was kind of cool. A bit anxious to sort of tackle it because people always think with denim it's just sort of jeans, But coming into Tsepo jeans is kind of exciting to find ways to play with denim that are unconventional. How can you make denim look different, feel different, and just be something you never thought denim could be?
Is there, when I think of denim, I tend to primarily, Naledi, and this may be sort of what you're suggesting, think of kind of clothes for younger people. I'm no longer a younger person, and yet I've got denim on me right now, but they are jeans. But I mean, do you think that denim is kind of ageless, or is it primarily a kind of younger person's fabric?
100% ageless. I think denim it's for everyone. I just think that it's in its prime at the moment, if that's the right word to use. It's sort of picking up because I think a lot of the times the youth are playing with, thrift denim that they find and figuring out how can I remake what I just have in my hands into something completely different. Whereas I think back in the day, you sort of just thought, I need a pair of jeans. That's what I'm going to buy. So I do think denim is ageless. I just think that the younger generation has found a way to play with it that makes it more exciting.
You've been working and sort of interning with Tsepo Mohlala, and he's one of the biggest names in our fashion scene, and of course he's in charge of Tsepo Jeans. I imagine a big step. I mean, I've met him, we've spoken to him on the Money Show, but I imagine a big step to work with someone like that, really important in our industry.
100%. It's been, I was nervous on my first day, but it's been really exciting to sort of just see how his mind works, see where his vision is going and what he wants to see for Tsepo Jeans, in the future, near future and further, like another 10 years. And it's just been amazing to sort of learn how he structured his brand and how he wants to represent Tsepo Jeans, not only in the country and the continent, but in the world. So it's been really an exciting experience, sort of just like digging into his mind and just sort of seeing how he perceives things.
I just have the sense in my head of many people wanting to start a career in fashion who would give, their eye teeth, maybe not their denims, but their eye teeth, for the position that you've had. How hard is it to get on the radar of someone like Tsepo Mohlala? I mean, it can't be easy.
Oh, it isn't easy, and in the fashion industry in general, there's so many creators out there, and you just have to have that thing that someone is specifically looking for that sparks their excitement. I did send my portfolio in last year in hopes that, whatever comes through, comes through. So to receive the call was, I think I say this every time, I did not anticipate it, and it was just so exciting to hear him say, would you like to come and work on LMC with us?
Did he call you himself?
Yes.
Wow. Okay, I can imagine. that was quite a conversation.
Yes.
The world of fashion, Naledi, I mean, there's stereotypes about the experience of being an intern in the fashion industry. A lot of them come from one movie. I'm sure you know the movie I'm thinking about.
Yes.
Is it like that? I mean, are you on first name terms with every barista from, Rosebank to Tshwane? I don't get the sense that it's like that. I get the sense for you it's been a very difficult experience, but that's the kind of stereotype I have in my head.
Yes. I mean, you know what? Stereotypes are all built off of something that has happened. But my experience, I just feel like I kind of just got put into this family. You know, as an intern, I'm sort of like figuring the things out, learning from them. If there's things we need to do, you know, we do them. But I think the stereotype is slightly dramatic, you know. But I mean, my experience overall has been absolutely pleasant.
Okay, so let's just talk a little bit about your designing style. And I realize, you know, designing style will change over time. There'll be phases, or maybe seasons, a better word, of everyone's kind of style. For the moment, when you sit down and you're creating a piece of clothing, so you've got, I presume, some pieces of denim fabric, different types of that denim in front of you. How do you start? I mean, do you start by kind of your mood? Do you start by thinking of maybe a message that you want to send? I mean, I'm very interested in that creative process.
Usually I sort of try to get inspired by silhouettes first. Sort of, you know, I love getting a brief on this is what we're looking for. And then I sort of delve into the inspiration behind whatever the story may be. And the story for this specific collection was fusing Tipple and LMC and creating something that became its own, you know, personified version of these two incredible brands. And I kind of just started researching, okay, cool, what's out there? What is circus? And what is, you know, what is the style that we're looking for? And then I sort of delve into silhouettes and figure out, okay, what silhouettes am I interested in? Then I find out, what silhouettes is Tipple interested in? And we sort of just play with that. And I love just doing the research aspect and figuring out what feels right for this collection.
Is there an attitude with denim that other fabrics don't have that you kind of need to include in the work that you're sending? I hope I'm sort of making sense, because my fashion vocabulary is not as big as it should be. But is there a sort of, I mean, is attitude the right word?
I think, attitude, you could use the word attitude. I think with denim, working with denim, I don't want to say it's easy, but the attitude towards it is it's a lot simpler than working with something like a chiffon or a satin, you know, more delicate fabrics, whereas denim has a bit of that grit, you know, you can stitch through it and not necessarily have something snag. So it is a bit more exciting to work with it because it has a structured shape, you know, it doesn't just flow unless you try to, I mean, you know, a lightweight denim. But, denim is quite, I like working with denim. I feel like it just gives you a silhouette that makes sense in the end.
You're starting what I'm sure is going to be a long career, Naledi. I mean, do you have any idea of where you'd like to end up? I mean, maybe head towards what the English call high sewing, but what the French call and what we know it as haute couture. I mean, is that something you'd like to look at?
I've always been interested in haute couture. But I think my goal, or let me say, at the age that I'm at now, my mindset is sort of like, where do I see myself as a designer and the impact that I would love to have? And I really want to grow in not only South Africa, but in Africa. I feel like we're really in a good time for African designers, and it's sort of like just trying to get into that space and sort of see where it goes from there, you know, and keep working towards uplifting not only myself, but other designers around me.
Do you think there's something about South Africa, the diversity we have, the sort of fusion of cultures? Does that make our fashion different?
100%. You know, South Africa is rooted in so much history and so many beautiful cultures that just a minute aspect of that culture or of the history we have can create a collection, can create a look that, you know, expresses exactly what the designer is trying to express, you know, a different perspective of that. I think it's exciting designing in this country because there's so many different types of characters who grew up from multiple cultures or multiple different backgrounds or even just a solid background. It's a really exciting playground to be in.
Naledi, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Really do appreciate it. A fashion designer from Tsepo Jeans, and just looking at some of the issues that she's been looking at. Their big production at the moment is that luxurious marble circus. Naledi Dlamini, remember the name. 6 minutes now to 7.
Stephen Grootes
Taking your calls.
on 011-883-0702.
Time for the Friday Biz Blitz on The Money Show. You know the number to dial. You know how it works. We ask you a question. If you get it right, we move on to the next question. If you get it wrong, we move on to the next caller. The first question on the Friday Biz Blitz this Friday night. Which French term meaning high sewing refers to custom-made luxury fashion garments created with exceptional craftsmanship and exclusive fabrics? Which French term meaning high sewing refers to particularly luxury fashion garments? 011-883-0702, 021-446-0567.
The Money Show with Stephen Grootes is brought to you by Absa Corporate and Investment Banking. Absa is a proud lead sponsor of B20 South Africa 2025.
The Money Show. Friday Biz Blitz.
First question on the Friday Biz Blitz this evening. What French term meaning high sewing refers to custom-made luxury fashion garments created with exceptional craftsmanship and exclusive fabrics? Let's go to Parcha on the line from Tshwane. Parcha, hi.
Good evening, Stephen.
Evening. Do you know the answer?
I hope I don't butcher it. Is it hot cotton?
It is. You said it better than I did, Parcha. I hope I'm getting your name correct.
No, that's good.
Okay, cool. Here we go. Second question. Name the maker of BioPlus, Comparel, and Panado that is about to exit the JSE.
Procter & Gamble?
Oh, Pacha, no. Mandla in Rosebank. Do you know the answer?
Hi, good afternoon. Adcock Ingram.
It is Adcock Ingram, yes, Mandla. Okay, next question on the Friday Blitz. XAU is the universal trading code in financial markets for which precious metal?
Gold.
It is gold, Mandla, yes. Can you name, fourth question on the Friday Biz Blitz, name the largest asset manager in Africa? What is the name of the largest asset manager on our continent?
Alan Gray.
Oh, Mandla, I'll give you one more guess, but you're going to kick yourself.
No.
Sorry, Mandla. Name the largest asset manager in Africa. 011-883-0702, 021-446-0567. That is the question. And this question on the Friday Biz Blitz. Questions too around a pharmaceutical company and around something happening at the JSE this week. But first, we have to get through this question. The largest asset manager in Africa. Who is it? What is the name of the largest asset manager in Africa? There was a conversation about it on The Money Show a little while ago, not too long ago, by which I mean tonight. So the name of the largest asset manager in Africa. 011-883-0702 and 021-446-0567. Faisal in Houghton. Faisal, do you know the answer?
It has to be the PIC, I presume.
It is Faisal, the PIC, yes. Okay. Eisen and Lynette Saltzman founded which pharmaceutical retailer? Which pharmacy did Ivan and Lynette Saltzman found?
How can I forget? It's Discam.
Of course it's Discam, Faisal. Okay, last question on the Friday Biz Blitz. Veldine Reddy is set to replace Leila Fourie as the CEO of which company?
That's a JSE.
Faisal! Faisal in Houghton, congratulations. You've won the Friday Biz Blitz at 7 o'clock.